If you ever felt like housing in Singapore is getting out of reach, you are not alone. With resale flat breaking the $1 million marks and younger Singaporeans struggling to balance successfully for their first home, it is no surprise that public housing has become one of the hottest topics on the island. But recently, something happened. PM Lawrence Wong, yes, the man at the top, sat down with CNA for a candid and comprehensive interview. And he tackled the big questions. You know, the ones we've all been asking. Like, are BTOs really affordable anymore? What's the deal with the 99-year lease? Am I technically just renting? And what about those $1 million HDB resale flats? Are they even fair? Now, if you are new here, I'm Toby, the HDB guy, and I help everyday Singaporeans navigate our public housing system. In this video, I'm going to share with you what PM Wong has said and why it makes a lot of sense, even if at first glance, it doesn't feel like it. And if you just stick around till the end, I will share a little story that might just change how you see your HDB. Before we go too far, let's be clear. PM Wong isn't just speaking as the Prime Minister. He grew up in Marine Parade, in an HDB flat next to East Coast Park. He talked about playing football at the void deck, attending block parties, and walking to the beach with his brother. So when he talks about housing, it's personal, not just political. Here's a quick TLDR of what he covered. First, BTO flats are still affordable when you make a fair comparison and factors in CPF grants and income growth. Second, the 99-year lease isn't a scam. It's how we keep housing affordable for future generations. And third, $1 million resale flats. They exist, sure, but they are rare and mostly a reflection of high demand, high location value. And lastly, housing access is evolving. Singles are getting more options, but we need to fix supply demand first before opening more doors. Now that we have laid this out, let's deep dive into the first issue, affordability. This one always stirs emotions. People say, my parents bought their flats for 40,000 and why are we paying 5 or even 10 times of that now? But PM Wong made an important point here, and it's something I tell my clients all the time. You have to compare apples to apples. He used Marine Parade as an example. Back in the day, that estate was built on reclaimed land. People were hesitant to even live there because they thought that the land might sink. It wasn't considered a mature estate. No MRT nearby, no mall, none of the amenities we take for granted today. Now fast forward to today, even a 3-room flat in a non-mature estate goes for about $200,000. To compare apples to apples, we need to look at the people's income. A teacher in the 1970s earned a few $100s a month. Today, a fresh grad teacher makes around $4,000. In fact, PM Wong pointed out that Singaporeans' incomes have grown faster than headline inflation. So even though flat prices have gone up, they are largely stayed aligned with what we earn. In fact, today, around 80% of first-time BTO buyers service their loan without cash using just CPF. Think about that. In most global cities like New York, London, Tokyo, young people are throwing down serious cash from their take-home pay just to secure a roof. But in Singapore, the majority don't even have to touch their wallets. CPF takes care of it. Now, is it perfect? No. Are prices rising in mature estates? Yes, but the base level affordability, especially for young couples looking at BTOs in non-mature estates, is still one of the best deals globally. From my side, I've seen this in action. I've helped young buyers lock in 4-room flats under 450,000 with CPF grants. Many pay zero cash. And when people say HDB is no longer affordable, it's usually because they are looking at the top tier locations or comparing today's prices to 40 years ago without adjusting for income and subsidies. The second hot topic PM covered is the 99-year lease. I get it, it feels like you're just renting, right? Like, hey, I bought this flat, but in 99 years, it goes back to the state. I made a video about this before, you can check it out here. But PM Wong gave a similar response. He asked, can you sell the flat? Yes. Can you rent it out? Yup. Can you lease it on the open market and make a profit? Absolutely. So if you can do all of that, how is that not ownership? He even made the comparison to private condos. Many of those are also sold on a 99-year lease, and nobody called those buyers tenants. The reason for this lease model is simple. It allows the government to keep land costs under control. If everything were freehold, prices would spiral upwards, and today landowners and their children would benefit massively. But future generations, they will be priced out entirely. And let's be real, 99 years is more than enough for any individual. If you buy a flat in your 30s, you are likely live in it comfortably, pass it on, and even have enough value left to monetize it later in life. PM Wong also touched on the lease buyback scheme, which helps seniors tap into their flat's remaining value without moving out. That's the part of the longer-term plan, giving people multiple ways to extract value across their lifetime. From my personal experience, I've worked with retirees who were able to fund their golden years just by right-sizing. And more importantly, it proves just one thing. HDB flats do hold value, especially when you bought it right and live in for the long term. Let's move on to the million-dollar question. Literally. By now, you have probably seen their headlines. Another HDB flat sold for over $1 million. And it's tempting to panic, to think, are regular Singaporeans being priced out of the market? But here's what PM Wong made very clear. These flats are not the norm. Yes, they exist. Yes, they are attention-grabbing, but they account for a tiny fraction of all resale transactions. Most of these flats are in super prime locations. Think of the Pinnacle at Duxton, Queenstown, upper floor units with stunning unblocked views. All these are exceptions. They are not the rule. And honestly, they are a byproduct of Singapore's success because we have built a housing model that gives people real ownership, pride, and the ability to upgrade. The best flats in the best locations have naturally appreciated in value. That's not failure, and that's how property works. But what about everyone else? PM Wong emphasizes, if you are a first-time buyer looking for a resale flat, there are still grants available to make it affordable. And remember, affordability must always be seen relative to income. That's the anchor, not the record-breaking sale of a rare flat. Now, let me jump in with my 2 cents. I've seen people stress out over these $1 million flats, not because they want one, but because it makes them feel like the entire system is out of reach. And I always tell them this, you don't need $1 million flat. You need the right flat, one that suits your stage, your needs, and your financials. Whether that's a 3-room BTO in Tengah or a resale unit in Bukit Batok, the system is designed to offer choice and flexibility. The danger comes when we start treating housing like a lottery ticket instead of a foundation for living. Now, let's talk about another hot topic he covered, singles. For years, singles in Singapore had limited options when it comes to public housing, but that's changing. PM Wong acknowledged that more and more people are choosing to live independently, and as household size shrink, housing demand hasn't dropped. It actually gone up in some areas, and that's why recently the government expanded access for singles. You can now buy not just standard flats, but also plus and prime flats, which were previously out of reach. It's a huge step forward in terms of inclusivity, but there's a problem. Supply cannot meet the demands and is still catching up. PM Wong was upfront about this. The reason the government isn't flinging the doors wide open to more groups just yet is because they are still working to stabilize the supply and demand imbalance. During COVID, construction delays led to a massive bottleneck. Demand surged, but supply couldn't keep pace. And if you open the gates too early without enough flats to meet demand, prices will spike and everyone suffers. So the approach here is cautious, measured, and ultimately fair. From where I stand, I've seen this pressure firsthand. Singles reaching out saying they are ready to buy, but frustrated by the limitations. And to be honest, I think the government will move toward more inclusion once the backlog clears. We have already seen the needle shift, and I expect more options for singles, seniors looking to right size, and even joint singles arrangement in the future. Because at the heart of it, PM Wong housing vision boils down to 3 things. First, affordability. Every generation of Singapore must be able to own a home. And second, community. Our housing estates shouldn't just be a place to live, they should be a place to grow up together and make memories and build a shared identity. And thirdly, fairness. The system must feel just. You shouldn't feel like you lost out just because your queue number didn't get you that prime flat. So the changes to the flat classification system, standard, plus, and prime, are all steps to balance supply, demand, and fairness. And now I know there was a lot to unpack, but if you've made it this far, you have already understand this isn't just about real estate. It is about how we live, how we build families, communities, and a nation. And that's what makes Singapore housing system so unique. Not perfect, sure, but constantly evolving, grounded in long-term thinking, and focused on sustainability over speculations. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with a story. When my friend got his first flat, it wasn't glamorous. It was a 4-room resale unit in a quieter part of the island. No MRT nearby, no fancy views, no $1 million valuation. But you know what it gave him? Freedom. a place to start his own family, a space he could call his own. And over the years, it appreciated slowly but steadily. That's the real magic of public housing in Singapore. It gives you a head start, not a shortcut. So if you're thinking about getting your first home or you're worried about whether you are able to afford one, don't be discouraged by the noise. Focus on what you need. Alright, if you found this breakdown helpful and you want more videos where we go deep into housing topics like this, hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think about what PM Wong has said. Do you agree with his take on the 99-year lease? Do you think HDB is still affordable? See you on the next one.